Hello, buddy. I've got another message for you here, and I thought I would take the time to sit down at the park and do these instead of doing it while I'm driving. I think the first video that I recorded, somebody put a comment on there, said lesson number 1, keep your eyes on the road. And that's a good point. I should probably do these videos not while driving, even though it seems like that's one of the best times to do something. But the message that I wanted to get to you today, buddy, is about living an intentional life. And so I really truly believe a couple things. One is that we live in a world of distraction, and I think things are worse now than they were when I was growing up as a kid, and then 100 years before that. Obviously, when I was growing up as a kid, there was way more distraction available when I was growing up than there were 100 years ago. However, distraction is a universal dilemma or a universal problem that we all have to face and that we have to master. And there's a really important aspect of being intentional about mastering that distraction and not allowing the things that can rob you of your potential to do so, because there's so many things out there that can't. Some of those distractions are very simple. Some of them are more complex. In today's world, we have our smartphones, and there's every single distraction imaginable is right there at your fingertips. And I truly believe that those distractions, even though some of them aren't necessarily bad things, they're the enemy of your potential. And I truly believe that we were all created for a specific purpose. And as we grow and develop and figure out who we are, we learn that purpose, or we come up with that purpose. And as long as it's something that I think God would honor, then we can run with it. And as a verse in the Bible, it says, let us set aside everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. And so there are distractions that aren't necessarily bad things. They're not evil, but they are there to slow us down. And they will slow us down if we entertain them too much. Okay, like I said, they can be good things, but they're there, and they can keep us from running with perseverance the race marked out for us. They can rob us of some of the energy that we should be using to devote to our goals and dreams and becoming the type of person that we want to become. And so I have an activity for you, and I do this with some of the people that I've worked with in terms of sports psychology, or even some of our business people. And the idea is taking some time and thinking about the end of your life, where you've passed away and you're observing your funeral. But take some time and imagine every single person that your life has ever touched. It could be the clerk at the grocery store. It could be some random stranger that you helped them change their tire on the side of the road. It could be a family member, a brother, a sister, a loved one, whatever it is. So take some time and imagine that you're watching your funeral, and everybody gets up to speak about who you are, the impact that you had on their life, and they're 100% unfiltered. They're not saving the bad or just speaking the good just because it's a funeral and that's the proper thing to do. They're being 100% raw, talking about the impact that you had on their life. And if every single person got up and spoke the 100% truth, what would you want them to say? And then you take those things and you distill some character traits out of what it is that you wanted them to say. That person was very inspirational to me. That person, even though I was a grocery store clerk, every time they came and talked to me, they made me feel like I was worth $1 million. Things like that. What are those things that you want to be known for? What's the character that you want to develop in your life? And like I said, taking that and distilling it into some character traits that you can be intentional about in your life to embody those. And then from there, it becomes a daily discipline. We have to be intentional about becoming the type of person that we want to become. And like I said, there's distractions that aren't necessarily bad things, but they will rob us of our potential. And then there are distractions that are very bad things. And if we're not intentional about becoming the type of person that we want to become, then we will engage in those distractions, and we will willingly allow those distractions to numb the pain and numb us from that. Whenever we have a goal or something that's important to us, there's a level of tension between where we are and where we want to be. And many of the activities that people participate in life are nothing more than a cheap anesthetic for the pain of an empty life. The people that all they do is watch sports and get wrapped up in everybody else's success. In my opinion, that's a cheap anesthetic for the pain of an empty life. Drugs, addictions, things like that. A lot of times It's a present focus, focused on right here and now and the pleasure of whatever can come along in that moment, versus long-term perspectives on becoming the type of person you want to become and pursuing those dreams. And so it's so important to be intentional. And I have a couple quotes here, a couple things that I wrote down in terms of intentionality. And so when it comes to becoming the type of person you want to become, it takes everything that you want to change in your life requires a ton of repetition. And so I have a quote here from Henry David Thoreau, and he said, a single footstep will not make a path on earth. And so a single thought will not make a pathway in our mind. To make a physical path, to make a deep physical path, we must walk again and again. And to make a deep physical path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. And so that has to be something, the type of person that you want to become has to be something that you think on a consistent basis. That could be through affirmations that you repeat on a daily basis. That could be through having certain character traits written on your mirror or on a note card or a notepad or something like that you look at regularly, you read it regularly, and you ponder and not compare yourself, but grade yourself. How did I live out these values today, this week, this month, whatever? And the more consistently you see those things and you grade yourself, the more opportunities that you have to make course corrections and become the type of person that you want to be, but also the more it ingrains that thought pattern into your brain. And I wrote two things. I wrote, your future, your potential, your legacy, it depends on the choices that you make now. How you show up today and the intentionality in which you live your life determines the life you will live. And if we're not highly intentional about creating the results that we want in our life, then we are leaving our results to chance. And the odds are stacked against us when we leave our results to chance. Everybody's born with a certain level of natural talent or giftedness in certain areas and a lack of it in certain other areas. But no matter what it is, hard work beats talent, and consistent work trumps intensity. Meaning, it's great to work hard, but if you work hard consistently, that's going to trump high intensity every single time. And so the biggest, most important kind of concept that I just want you to get is, in every arena in life that's important to you, it is so important to be intentional with your time, intentional with your thoughts, and intentional with your activities. And so those three things combined are really going to help you live the life that you want to live, to become the person that you want to become. And so, buddy, I'm proud of you. And as I always want to say, think strongly, okay? Make sure that what's going through your mind is, as often as possible, are strong, positive, encouraging, uplifting, empowering thoughts. Think strongly, attempt fearlessly, because if your mind is right, if you're thinking strongly, then you're not going to have fear when you go out and you attempt things in life. And the reality is, in most scenarios, there's nothing that we do on a day-to-day basis that's particularly life-threatening. We're not at risk, at least at this point in history, of a dictator, beheading us because we have different religious values or whatever it may be. So think strongly, attempt fearlessly. And if you do those two things, you're going to accomplish masterfully. You're going to accomplish great things. So have a great day.